Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Alright, so where we left off last time was with the door fiasco. I don't know if you remember, but I was showing you guys, I was cutting up my door, welding and stuff, and then yeah, put on the trunk lid. I was about to get a new door skin and or get an OEM replacement door. It was like 200 bucks, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put the door on, see how it looks, see if I can make it work before I go about like spending any more money on it and time. And lo and behold, check this out. I was able to get it to fit. Look at it, lines up nice now. Everything is good as it should be. Yeah, so it fits nice, got my door gaps. The only part that I could not get is this funkiness right here, and I think that's an inner latch situation there, because I was tweaking everything in the door, had to remove the whole fender so I could get in here, mess with everything. Got it as good as I could there. I could bring it up just a hair, but I'm not gonna worry about it. I think it's fine, because I'm gonna have to put some filler on this anyways. So I was able to pull this out though a little bit and get it to be more even along in here. Surprisingly, I just used my stud welder and it like pulled right out. So I was able to level everything out on the door once it was on. And then I made sure my gaps fit down in here and hammer this in a bit. I'm still gonna have to come in a little bit more with this. But all in all, it looks good. And everything lines up, the gaps are good, feels good. Yeah, everything's awesome. So next, I started to mess with the trunk lid, which obviously I was putting on in my last video, and I got it fitting pretty good. I just adjusted the hinges on the inside and then just kind of shimmied it, opened it, closed it, opened it, closed it. Got everything pretty close down in here. I don't know if you can see it, but everything lines up pretty decently. I mean, this gap is part of this quarter panel. That's just the way it is, unfortunately. This gap over here, you know, it's about the same, but this end is a little funky right here, but all in all, not bad, right? So, and I got this back corner in it lined up, and I got the gap pretty good in here, especially for a replacement piece. Once I get the weather stripping under it, it's gonna help to like, you know, hold it in place. Cause right now it's just like, cause there's no weather stripping. All right, so next, what I'm gonna start to tackle just a little bit here is this side was squished in at some point, right? Somebody hit the rear quarter panel. They tried to pull it out, didn't do a very good job. And then they also riveted in this nasty mess here. And there's like a lip here. And I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, there you go. Like a lip here. This is all lead where that was attached. When it comes to welding that, that's kind of annoying. I may see if I can cut this out and then get a new piece in here. I don't know. I might try to trim it up some, clean it up, because I don't necessarily want to just like fill over that, because that is like, ew. Then after that, I need to cut this part out of the door here, replace it, pull this out because it's dented in a little bit. Not a big deal. The door's looking pretty good though overall. I need to fill this in because no need to have a radio antenna, because I'm just gonna do Bluetooth. I never listen to the radio. I was also able to use this bad boy here to get inside the cowl. Highly recommend for cleaning out the cowl. It basically fits right through like that, and you can just go to town in there and clean everything out. Yeah, with that said, be sure to give me a like on this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Also remember to set your bell notifications, and I want to thank everybody who's been following along in this build. We're getting so close. I really appreciate all of your support. You guys are awesome, seriously. I love all the questions, and I love that you guys leave comments on how you're working on your projects. I love to hear about that. It's like the only bit of car community that I have, because I don't have any friends that are into cars. So thank y'all so much. I'm learning as I go, and I know a lot of y'all are too. So this is just a fun space. Everybody's super supportive and helpful. So with that said, let's jump in. One thing I wanted to do as far as like body work goes is there was a lot of like damage to this back end right here, and I hammered a bunch of it out, right? So I got it pretty flat, but then I noticed I was getting some oil canning right here, if you can see. It's a little stretched too thin. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to basically just heat shrink that area. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a torch and I'm gonna heat that area up really hot, and then I'm gonna hammer it and then hit it with a cold wet rag, and hopefully that will like cause the metal to expand, and then I hit it and it'll shrink. So let's try it out. Let's see what happens. And there we have it. So I just basically heat shrunk that area. It wasn't very large, so, but no more oil canning. So it's, oh, just kidding. Well, it's actually not bad. We're not really getting any more oil canning now. So pretty solid across the board. I mean, there's some looseness right here. So maybe I'll hit this area. But other than that, it's looking pretty good so far. So let's go over what I did yesterday. All right, so I ended up cutting out this little patch piece right here, and I sprayed it with some rust reformer in there because it was pretty gross. So I also tried to pull this dent out a little bit. It was just kind of like a gash dent, just trying to get it pulled out a bit more. I may work on it here too, because obviously there's a bit of a gap right there from this being dented in. This is fine up here. Pulled some spots out here, which were good. But the main thing is I hit all this with rust reformer. The inside of the door is rusted a bit. I don't really care. I'm gonna leave it. It's whatever. And then I cut this piece out, which basically fits. It's like a perfect fit for in here. And I bent it so it has the curve to it. It's basically from the other door skin that I had, but this will fit right in and we'll be good to go. So replace that piece. for this piece. Other than that, I've got to weld up a few holes, like this randomness that somebody put in here for a side mirror, I'm guessing. I tried to pull out as much of this as possible in here and got it pretty decent in here. Now I can just hit that with filler. But the main part is gonna be this. So a lot of this right in here is lead. You know, a long time ago, especially from the factory, they used lead as opposed to welding with steel. It's easier to form, and then also you can just like grind it down. Also, it doesn't rust. But the only problem with that is it's highly toxic. So especially if you're like grinding it or breathing it in, like the fumes and stuff. So I might put a few spot welds in here because there is steel under those pieces, just because this part of the roof line flexes a lot. So I was able to get this piece, because this piece was replaced a long time ago in an accident because they riveted these parts. And I grinded the rivets down, pulled this piece of metal out, and what I'm gonna try and do is weld in a few of these spots here where I've got some steel to weld to. And then, yeah, then we're gonna fill it, you know, and call it a day, I guess. I might fill it with like with fiberglass filler, because I need something pretty strong but with some flex, because I can't weld to lead. It's gonna melt right through. We're gonna try that. We're gonna see how it goes. So these holes are where the vinyl trim part of the roof line is, and so I've got to fill those. Also got to, looks like in the past somebody tried to move the mirror up. May try and fill at least one set of those. Let's jump into it. Yeah. So I wasn't gonna do this, but I ended up doing it anyways. I took the front fender off, and basically the reason I took this side off is I wanted to get inside the cowl and vacuum it out, because I was able to get inside the other end and vacuum all that out. So I'm gonna get in here, vacuum this side out, because there's so much stuff in there. While I'm doing that, I'm gonna take time to clean all this up, probably throw down some more seam seal if I need it. Yeah, just get in here and clean up all the junk that needs to be cleaned and then painted. And yeah, over here we've got the the fender, which I'm also gonna clean up, repaint the inside of this like I did the other side. And then after that, I think we're almost ready to go. I just gotta finish stripping a little bit of the paint off, and then I got some acid etch from Eastwood I'm gonna throw down on the whole car, and then we can prime it. So we're getting close. This is awesome. I'm just trying to get all the extra little paint out of everything. The original paint's really, really hard to get off. It's like, it just kind of turns to sludgy butter when I'm trying to get it off. Unlike the other coats on top, they come off really easy, but the original red paint, it just gets so gummy when I'm trying to take it off. This is really bad in here, like all the vent here, where the cowl is, it's just like thick and it gets so gummy when I try and take it off. I've just got to clean up all in between. Then I got to take the windshield out and then the back glass, and then we'll be ready, you know, for paint after I clean up all this around here. I got new gaskets as well. So yeah, we're getting close. We're getting really, really close. This is exciting, y'all. Woo! All right. Alright, so check this out. I'm basically just pulling all the old weather stripping off, and it's crazy. Like, look at the color. It's like as red as my gloves. That's crazy. I mean, it's like brand new paint under there. Can you even imagine what it would have been like, the whole car like that, new from the factory? Oh my god. That would have looked sweet. Just, ooh. And it's so old, it just breaks. It's just gross. So definitely time for some new weather stripping. And I put this all down in there and taped it so I wouldn't get all this in the car. Obviously, probably should have, you know, done the interior last, but hey, hindsight, right? Live and you learn. I haven't decided if I'm gonna use my old windshield yet. All these little clips in here, these need to come out. This basically holds in all of the chrome like trim around the outside of the windshield. So I'm gonna get all that out. This is crazy though. Look at this old vinyl from the inside. That's actually old vinyl from the headliner. It's all white vinyl. So I'm gonna peel all that off, get all that out of there. Then I'm gonna pull these little tabs off. Then we can start cleaning up the windshield channel, get it all nice and clean, retape it, get it ready for spraying because I'm gonna spray everything in epoxy. And yeah, we'll be good to go. I know there's some little patching that I need to do on the back windshield. So I'm gonna take that out after this, but I'm just gonna start to clean things up. So yeah. So I just ended up filling a few little spots. There was like a hairline crack here, right underneath the drip rail where this seam was kind of separating. So what I ended up doing was I drilled a little hole in it. I just filled it and welded the rest of this together. I got to clean it up and flatten it out a little bit, but everything looks good there. I also went ahead and replaced this little spot right in here, which I know I'm gonna have to fill just to get that curve right, but it ended up working out pretty well. It looks pretty good. Just got like a slight hump here, which I can kind of work out. But yeah, overall not bad. That part was rusted out, so I just cut out a new piece of metal. And then this was a spot from like a rear like accident, I guess, back in the day, and I noticed there was some separation here. Unfortunately, there was like some brazing or some lead or something going on, so it was really hard to weld this part right here. Super hard to weld this, but there was like a crack right there, so I welded that up. I'm just gonna sand it down with a flap disc, but I was able to get it to stick back, so these two pieces came together. So it's like this basically, but on the other side. So all in all, we're looking pretty good. The only part that's like really concerning to me is this in here. And this was apparently riveted in the past. I guess somebody hit this quarter panel, and then they put on another quarter panel and then riveted all this right here. So I know that this is like a high flex point for the car, and it's got a lot of lead in it from back in the day. You know, they leaded these seams in here, and so you can't just weld lead. It just doesn't work like that. It's got like a melt point that's a lot less than like steel. Any lead that you try and weld, it just like splatters and it's not going to actually stick. It's just going to just get messy and crazy. So what I did is there was a little bit of steel poking through here, so I tried to weld this in right here a bit. There was some right here, so I welded that, and then I spot welded these rivets that were still in, which go into the interior wall of the car. But that's about as good as I could get it. I don't know, it kind of worries me though with it like flexing and whatnot. I don't want to like crack the finish, and I feel like it might, unless it's like solidly conjoined there. And I don't want to mess with the lead. That just sounds like a nightmare and super toxic, and I have no experience in that other than like soldering. So I don't have any of the tools for that either. We'll see. I might just fiberglass all this. And I know that I've got solid like points here where I welded the rivets, but it's still, yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen there. So I may just do a bunch of fiberglass and hope that we're good. I still gotta take off the door handles. So I'm gonna take off the door handles now so we can finish sanding these spots in here so I can get a good clean paint situation going on. So I'm gonna take the door handles off, and then we're about good pretty much to just like finish cleaning things down. Got the glass out, got everything good, and now we just gotta clean it all down, prep it for primer, and then we're pretty much good to go. So yeah, let's finish it up. So I ended up pretty much sanding everything down as far as the metal goes. You can see it's all nice. I sanded it all down with 80 grit. The only part I have left to get is gonna be this back area right here. So I just got to get that, and then I can hit it with some fast etch solution from Eastwood. So I thought I'd give that a try. The reason I'm doing this is it's winter time here in California, and we've been getting a lot of rain, and it's been pretty chilly and cold. So we're supposed to get in like the 70s in like a week from now. So it'll be way better conditions for painting. So I'm trying to keep the finish from rusting for like a week or two, or even longer if I can't get it done next weekend, but until I can at least get it in primer. So I went and got some gloves, and I got this fast etch solution, so we're gonna give that a try from Eastwood. I also got some Duragold red Scotch Brights as well. So I'm just basically gonna hit everything with that. That should neutralize any of the rust that's still left. Like for example, there's some deep areas like right in here that I just couldn't get down in enough to get the rust. So I just want to make sure that we're neutralized there, and any of the other like little cracks and crevices like down in there, for example, you know, spots like that. I just want to make sure I'm getting everything. With that said, let's jump on in. All right, so one tricky thing here. So on the front passenger side fender, I didn't realize that there was like basically a nut that had broken off, and it's a nut that like is like basically welded onto the body. It's this little piece right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's welded onto the underside of the fender, up under here. And I know you can't see that probably because it's too dark, but it's up underneath there, and it's welded right there in that little square piece. So this little piece basically is part of the car, and then the fender is bolted onto that. Now I guess when they made repairs in the past, when I had to cut this fender off, I realized that it had been like basically brazed on to the car, and I had to cut that off to get it off. I guess whenever somebody did that in the past, I don't know if it was from like the factory or what, but that was like brazed on. So I'm like, do I want to just weld those panels together? I don't know. Maybe from the underside I could, then it wouldn't be noticeable and it would be fine. It wouldn't bother me, but then I'd have to bridge it, and that would be a lot to just like get that weld to work. Or I could try and weld this piece back on and then screw that piece in, but either way, it's kind of a pain. So yeah, we'll see. I may just weld the panel on and call it a day. Definitely makes it a little bit harder, like when it comes to taking it off in the future. If I need to, I'm gonna have to cut that, which is fine, not a big deal. Had to cut it off anyways to begin with. I may just do that, call it a day, call it good, and be done. I just ended up finishing using the fast etch on everything, and this is what we got. Basically took everything down to like a dull sheen. It just kind of left this like sort of like cloudy look to it. I don't know if you can see it, but that's just kind of how the fast etch works. Yeah, I hit the whole car. My main concern was getting the roof, because there was a lot of spots on here from where there was the vinyl top at one point. It wasn't that rusted though. I think somebody took the vinyl top off pretty early on, so it wasn't too bad. There was just some heavy spots, but all these are good now. So non-rusted, they just have like this dull gray color. That's just kind of the magic of the phosphoric acid working. In here too, there's some spots, but yeah, now it's all like a dull gray, and it's been treated, and it's not going to be bad news for us down the line. Yeah, I hit all this in here, and so that's all treated. It's all good. Probably in the next week, I'm gonna start spraying everything 2K epoxy primer, and then gonna do the rest of the body work, like filler and all that good stuff. Then we can do color coat and clear coat. I'm gonna mask everything off, mask the windows, everything, and then we can start painting. Thank you all so much for your support and for tuning into this video. If you can, give me a like and subscribe to my channel. If you haven't already, go ahead and set your bell notifications so you're notified every time I post a new video. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.